Ji. Oh, this is nice.
Fun class today.
Ah.
Fantastic. Yes.
The reason I'm doing this one is because there's an exhibit of Keith Haring paintings in Bombay currently.
How is it?
So if you're ever in and it's until 11th, he's part of the pop art
Pop art,
exhibit.
you were talking
Hmm.
about it last time.
Hmm. So if you get the chance to go and see this exhibit, great. I'm going to be visiting it on the 10th of Feb. That's one day before it leaves. It's till the 11th. I'm visiting Bombay for Mahindra Blues on the 10th
Ah,
and 11th. So I'll be coming on the 9th, and then on the 10th, I've told all students from all batches, if you're free, let's all meet up. Let's watch this exhibit together. It should be really nice. So pop art is often just dismissed, at least by Indians. I mean, we've dismissed everything from Impressionism onwards through modern art, through pop art. All those movements have made no sense to, I think, Indians. But uh, even now, I look at it externally just as a study. I love Keith Haring's work. It is very simplistic. It is very bold and is often used to make a whole lot of statements about maybe political statements, often protest, and maybe just with one image, he's able to show a lot of angst or joy. So I like that it is not overly complicated. So I'm not going to go about with biography of Keith Haring because you'll find that on the net. And as usual, I would hope that you read up a little bit and then write a small passage next to his paintings. The one good thing about Keith Haring work is it makes great stickers. Because of its bold graphic style, you can make multiples of these as stickers and put them on stuff that you are sending out. So obviously this won't be something that you would retail, but let me just show you some. So I think his work was more about, he was famously a gay artist, like many artists at that time. And this was around the 70s when I guess there was um, a lot happening in the gay movement. There were a lot of protests and of course a lot of atrocities, and there were homosexuals were fighting a losing battle against government for representation. There's a lot of information and lots of stories about that. So many of his paintings will include a certain symbology. So you'll have something like this. And it could be, I mean, it's so simple. It just shows friendship. If you ask a child what this is, they have such beautiful thoughts about what this painting might be of, or something like this. Yet, when it comes to adults, many adults might see this as an illustration of homosexuality and they may not like it too much. So, the good part and the difficult part is to be able to say something with few lines and almost um, in a tongue-in-cheek manner. That if you think about it only, and depending upon your perspective, you can put whatever twist to the picture you want. So these two, the dog and the crawling baby, are two symbols that he's used in a lot of places. I'm sure the dog meant something more than a dog. And then he has taken this dog and has made them dance about. So when you look at this, is there something that you uh, attribute to the painting or to the dog? What would you say it looks like? If it were a political statement, what do you think it might look like?
Something about barking dogs, like people who just talk, or
Yeah,
a lot of noise without much content.
correct. And I'm sure there is one category of people you can think of who is all talk and no action.
Yeah.
So we are going to, the task is very simple. For this one, if you've got markers, colored markers or sketch pens or something, these paintings work very well with colored sketch pens. You could choose whichever picture you want from these. And if you want, you can also look for more images and maybe choose a whole selection. And what I'd like you to do today is think of making it like a collection of small illustrations. So you can have one horizontal, one vertical, one square, or two squares next to each other, and try and make a bunch of them, like a collage of these paintings on the paper instead of making just one, because they're so simple. And I will look for some more information and some more, especially his the painting. I think that was the most expensive Keith Haring painting. It's a very interesting looking painting. It has much more meaning, and it is a complete opposite of the colors that you see. So while I hunt out for that, I would like you to start off with these. I'm going to start this off myself also. So if you can, if it is possible, try to do this directly in pen. If you have a non-bleeding pen, try to do it with that pen. If not, then of course, draw in pencil, paint the light colors first, and then make the dark colors afterwards. Okay, I'm going to start off with the baby first, just to test out my pens. I have a feeling that they don't bleed into each other. When you're drawing this, you'll realize that the lines made by the marker are not always, especially on curves, you'll have to manipulate it a little bit. If you think about the painting like this in more ways than just as a painting, at least I feel that this is one way of showing freedom of speech. So there is often there is some kind of control exerted by people who are in a position of authority. And when that control exists, there is usually uh, there's usually a standard that people are expected to follow. So in art, for example, the traditional classical formal art would be something that would be expected of artists to follow, where an illustration like Keith Haring's would not even find room in a rough illustration. No self-respecting classical artist would draw a baby like this, even if it was for a sketch, for a painting. But when Keith Haring makes something like this, and not only is he allowed to exhibit and sell it, people accept it. And he is then also free to make a political statement using these illustrations. It's actually evidence of a very progressive thinking society. Very often you will come across certain art forms which have been curbed over years, or they are the same throughout, like the Egyptian art. For 2000 years, they were making exactly the same art because they needed approval from the pharaoh. The pharaoh said, it's okay, it's okay. If you try to do something else, they would just chop your hands or head off. So that's the end of that. Recently, I also came across this information about the Habsburgs. This was a huge kingdom that goes across Germany, Austria, the erstwhile Yugoslavia. So there would be the Slavic states. The Habsburgs were also great uh, lovers of art and the classics, and they insisted on buildings in their kingdom to be a certain way, and that's why buildings in Austria are believed to be all of the same style, beautiful, but hardly any variations. So when you come across something like that, usually there is a political clamping down of any kind of creative thought. Incidentally, the Habsburgs are a very interesting history. So there's something called the Habsburgs Chin, Chin. They were, by all objective point of view, sadly very how what's the word I can use? In Marathi, there's a nice word called kurup. It's not necessarily ugly, but it is devoid of beauty, if you know what I mean. So the Habsburgs had the silhouette of many people in the family was a hooked nose and a very pronounced chin. So the chin became so they would have all this beautiful hair and everything, but they had a very prominent chin. And that was because they were so insecure that they would continue to marry within the family. So that aggravated this one feature. Okay, part of my illustration is bleeding, but I think it's going to look very nice and soft.
What colors are these, Aditi? They don't mix with each other?
They are mixing just a little bit, but not
Okay.
too bad. This is DOMS. Very nice.
Yeah, can you show the kit if you have it?
Yes, yes. This is the kit.
Ah, okay.
Very nice kit.
Nice.
Okay, I'm just going to share this article, which has got some of Keith Haring's top paintings. This painting was valued at 5 million pounds. So that's what is it called? Pop art 2. In this article, you'll mostly read about his commercial success. But look at this painting. It's black and white and red. So looks like a black canvas on which with white and red ink, a paint. This is what he's painted. Can you see what he has painted in this? So this one also sold for some, yeah, 4.5 million pound. I can't unfortunately see this. Can't show it any better than this. No. Can you see something in the painting?
The top two look like angels,
Yes.
and then the dogs at the bottom.
The
Correct.
bottom thing looks
Mm,
like some kind of a radiator or something, that heating
I
thing
was
Yeah.
that they have in
thinking,
room.
hmm, I think is it a brain or something?
I see a nuclear explosion. Now, since this was made in 1982, this was at the height of the Cold War. Do you see the mushroom cloud?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then the dogs, and all of this is covered in red crosses, except for these two angels on top. So I look at this as
Oh yeah, there are dogs at the bottom. I didn't see that.
yeah. It spells more doom than anything. The child in the mushroom cloud is doomed to die, and everything else
Those
around
are
it
the
die.
dogs of war.
Yeah, that's also true. And these could well be the parents of the child that have now deceased. It's really now, if you were to show this as a painting, it would be quite a ugly painting. So here's the quandary. You want to make a statement, but you want to make a painting that is uh that one sec, that makes people think, but it can't be very direct. If you are just I mean, it can be direct also. There's just no no ceiling to this. There's no boundaries to how to express yourself. But there, if when it's, I could just take a picture or I could take a bunch of pictures and make a collage of this thing also. But somewhere an aesthetic creeps in. Why has he not used like a whole bunch of color or a heap of his own figures, all melted under that cloud? He could easily have done that. But all of this is a consideration, something that you have to think about and then put it down in order to make that statement. Now, since Keith Haring's work was also very graffiti-like, he tried to, there's a lot of places where you'll see videos of him doing this graffiti on walls in public places. So, staying true to the form of graffiti, how can you make a statement that that including the fact that it's on this canvas, which is almost got, I think it's got rivets also on the side. So there is a certain commercial aspect to the medium, to the base that you're using also. All these things, the deeper you think about it, all of these start making sense and you can put them down into the overall meaning of your painting.
See,
Can you share that article?
Yes, yes, Asha. Oh, you made that also? Okay, you searched for that. Very nice. Okay, this one is called, what is this called? This is New York's hip hop scene. How cute is that?
oh, that's lovely.
And see, how many times when we are drawing human figures have some of you said, I'm never going to be able to, I can only draw stick figures, I can't draw figures. There you go. Just working with stick figures, 4.4 million.
Wow.
It has been sold for the meaning behind it, obviously. But see, it doesn't matter. Oh, I love this pink triangle. What are
Yeah.
people doing? They are closing their eyes. This is called silence equal death. This is supposed to be gay pride. Four 4.3. So this was when he was diagnosed. Very nice. Now this painting looks very much like this artist called Mr. Doodle. Have you come across his work? He's all over the net. So he uses a very fat marker and makes illustrations very much like this. This is very different. This is the last rainforest.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Hmm. Acrobats.
So did he do this digitally, Aditi? Like the can you scroll up once? Previous one. So is it something he drew it one
Yeah, that
after the
was
other,
in
those figures?
it was 1986. I don't think there was any digital art at that time.
But I mean, even with hand drawn, the lines would be so uniform.
Yeah. See, now if we try to replicate this very thing, it'll be very difficult. But think about it. If you start making figures of people in this form, a circle,
Hmm.
two hands and two legs, but your way, you're just taking inspiration from this, but you start drawing it without looking at it, without trying to make it look like that. And then I tell you to make that figure jump or bend forward or whatever, or make it do a somersault. You will start creating a proportion that is yours. Your lines will be different. For example, the child's head, the baby crawling baby, he draws the head is hardly ever a circle. There's a weird oval shape with almost a pointy nose. Not pointy, but
Yeah.
there's a little kink in there. That is what he seems to draw every time. I have tried so many times. All my baby heads are circles and they look very unnatural. So there's something in his style that he's just come up with. So now if you're practiced with doing that, and I give you a marker, which is a nice bold marker, you will make the same thing in that proportion throughout, and your proportion will be yours alone. It'll look very well, very accurate. And if I try to paint it exactly like yours also, I won't get those proportions and those lines. That's all that's happened over here.
Hmm.
Let me look for a photograph of his. Yeah, so there are some videos. I will share the links to those videos with you. So that during class there aren't any problems. So often if I share something that is copyrighted, especially music, then that part of our class becomes on YouTube, it goes blurred. And the other students get a little thrown.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
I didn't know that.
yeah, so YouTube checks on that. So every time I upload, there's a I guess a delay of about 10-15 minutes when it checks all these things. And if there's no music, it checks on copyrighted stuff, or if I'm showing a video or a clip or something, they try to avoid putting it in a class that is going to be public.
Oh,
What medium did he use when he was making all this art?
Um, I don't know really. I remember seeing the videos in which he has used only like a marker um for the graffiti, but I'm not really sure. I've not seen him use anything. I mean, I've not seen him working other than those videos.
Okay. Just using these markers, at least mine, like you can see this like lines.
Yeah, no, our markers will show lines. You can use paint also. Paint will be slightly better. Where's my yellow?
I'll tell you about it.
Okay, I'm just sharing a few interesting paintings. Another take on see no evil, hear no evil. There was one particular painting where he's used the symbol for male and female and intertwined them or interlinked them. I'm just trying to look for that. Okay, if we since now you're comfortable with this, I'm assuming everyone's comfortable with this, there won't be any doubts about how to draw whatever. Do you want to try to use a similar style to create either a character or a statement of your own with just simplified lines? You could try making something completely unrelated to Keith Haring. So don't make figures perhaps. But like for example, if you have to make let me see. Suppose I make just mm, So this is an issue that we are fighting in Pune for. And I'm using this style to make a kind of graffiti art out of that. You can see how this style lends itself so easily to make simplified protest posters. Now, another thing that you can always rely on with famous art is its use in something like this. I'll share a picture that I just came across in which somebody has celebrated New York through the paintings of, or in the style of Keith Haring. So this picture that I've shared, I think was made by another artist to just for an article on Keith Haring on his 60th birthday. So he passed away really young. All these guys, unfortunately, were taken away by AIDS. He's got this one very interesting angel or devil character also. I can't seem to find that painting. So when I taught this class to the kids earlier this month, I was first in a bit of a quandary whether or not I should show. I had to select only the polite graphics for the kids class because I did not want to rile the parents up. Thankfully, most parents in India don't know the significance of Keith Haring's paintings, so I was saved. But I suspect if this were in the US, it might have ruffled quite a few feathers, seeing as he was such an activist for gay rights. Now, I don't want to get into the controversy of gay rights. I think everyone has a right to live happily, but very often people get very sensitive about the topic. So when you see paintings by Keith Haring, sometimes they might come across as a little too bold and maybe too graphic. I don't like some of them because they, I guess, have very expressed genitalia, and I don't like paintings like that. But if you allow for a little patience and read behind what the paintings meant, they're not just a shock. They were meant to shock the system. These were people who were marginalized and kept aside and really ill-treated. Even now, all over the world, they're still finding it difficult to have their own identity. So I guess the strength of line or the shock of the graphic used is meant to translate that kind of urgency, feeling of hurt. I mean, how would you say that in a painting? Short of showing a violent scene, how are you going to be able to communicate a violent thought or the kind of anxiety that people might go through. It doesn't always have to be regarding gender, but it could be about people losing homes, about atrocities committed against them for one reason or another, minorities suffering all over the place. They do have something that is palpable, but you don't necessarily see it. So how can you communicate that so that the viewer, when they see the painting, senses that anxiety just through the painting? That becomes the purpose of the line. So in all these artists that we have gone through the month, we went through the Impressionists, we went through Cubists, then we did pop art with Yayoi Kusama, and now with Keith Haring. The whole point of doing this exercise, studies of the artist, apart from just picking up some of their art and replicating it, we also should break down everything that the art piece is about. Some things are very easy. You take the physical aspects, you take the line, composition, color, treatment, texture, um, color combinations, medium, size, all these are very objective. You just take all of that and you, I guess, dwell in that information. And the second part, which is most, I guess, ephemeral, is something to contemplate about. The motivations of the artist, the background, the environment around them at that time, other influences that they had, their childhood, their growth, the countries they were in, the political system around that time, the upheaval or peace, the kinds of wars that happened, their relationships. All of these factors are important as far as artists' lives are concerned. The difference now, where I guess a significant difference between muggles and artists is that everyone else, I guess, does not have a voice. So when, unless of course you are again in the arts, some art or another, but a regular Joe who goes to work, who only has to either follow orders, somebody's orders or another, even the boss of a company has to follow orders of the market. So that is like a closed loop. Everyone is dependent on each other and everyone pushes each other to do what they're supposed to do. So they push the next person, they push the next person, and then they're all in a circle pushing each other forward. But all of them also often go through the same emotions, but they do not often have an outlet or to express what their emotions might be. So, in that, very often, the artists often have, I visualize them as a concentric circle around people who are um, either not able to for some reason or another, or don't have the time for it, or not professionals in it, have the ability to express themselves. And through this concentric outer circle of the arts, people can reach out and find something that resonates with them. That is where the arts help. So sometimes it can be poetry, it could be an expression in dance, it could be an expression in music. There are days when I get up and I'm either upset with something and I just play some really, really hard, rude rock music just because I want to just feel that jang jang in my brain and want to be able to, it resonates with my anger. And a couple of songs later, I'll sink back into a nice, slow, smooth jazz. But that moment, I appreciate that it's there. So, similarly, when we see art, we may not be in that state of mind. We may not be in a state of anxiety or anger or repression, but we see the artwork. So that's where the two circles mismatch. And we might land up rejecting that art without even realizing that it's not meant for us at this time. But let me try and put myself in the position of whatever emotion this painting seems to satisfy. So when you look at something that is full of anger or full of aggression, it satisfies the need in the person who has that aggression and anxiety and can mirror the art. And then that art makes sense. And once you can tune yourself to that channel, you are able to appreciate that art much better than just looking at it and say, I don't understand it, and just move on to the next one. So when you come across modern art, this is what happens all the time. When you come across classical arts, there in many places, we relate to the skill of the artist, and we are pretty much satisfied with how wonderful the sculpture is, the painting is so realistic, the landscape is so beautiful. That part is universally appreciated by everyone. In those paintings, the deeper understanding of what those figures stand for. Very often, mythological figures are there, and they would stand for either Roman gods or Greek gods or goddesses or some kind of fable from history or mythology. And the people who know it, who understand it, will appreciate that even more. In modern art, skill is there, may not be there. You can't bank on that to appreciate art, but there will definitely be a punch of a meaning behind the painting. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you miss it. So you have to empathize, and then you are able to at least appreciate. So did any of you try making a figure or a poster of your own? Oh, so cute. Pigeons. Oh my goodness.
I tried few like these, and I was surprised, even with, I mean, bold lines, I can communicate some expressions. I mean, I don't have to
Yeah,
think that I draw human like this. So I was happy when I could, I felt that freedom that, yeah,
Yeah.
with the line I can just communicate something rather than drawing the whole human.
Though
And
I
correct.
also,
think I still got into too much detailing, but yeah.
Yeah.
and other
Uh,
thing I could figure out was that even for like travel illustrations, because I was seeing it on my brush pen paper,
uh,
it was drawn. Then I realized even I can just quickly sketch some things, when we travel, rather than just doing a complete sketching. Maybe with this
Ah,
bold pen and doing some shading, probably this can also work.
absolutely.
So it was eye opening for me.
Isn't it? You wouldn't have thought.
yeah.
Oh my God, look at Shivani. This is so cute.
The
Oh, nice.
anteater is not
Yeah.
come out, so it became too dark, but it's endangered species basically
Yeah.
is my
Oh, very
message.
nice.
Nice. I like the panda. The panda's cute.
Uh, orangutan also is coming
Orangutan,
out.
yeah.
I
Very
have to
nice.
color it.
This will, I feel this will open out a whole new avenue
Yeah,
for
it's
expression.
so easy to simplify things.
It is. So I now just think about it. Is it now easy to simplify things because we have gone through the whole process of doing all the difficult stuff? We've done complicated animals, birds, buildings, all sorts of various shapes. We've done textures, applications of all of that. So now it comes full circle. If I were to start the class with something like this, I suspect many of you might still want to first draw in pencil and then erase 5 times, and then you would go to the marker. But on the background of having done a whole lot of art before, isn't it just so obvious that this line is the way it is and it makes all the sense that it needs to make? So this is exactly what Picasso's pursuit was. When you look at his later paintings and look at his earlier paintings, you feel that Bichara has lost his way. Now he's just gone and become mad. When he had the skill to paint what he did earlier, exactly why he could paint what he painted afterwards, and the meaning behind that started becoming so much more important than just the expression and trying to make it very pristine. It all makes sense like that when you do the whole 9 yards of the art form.
Yeah. Or else this would be like, why are you teaching us something so simple? That would
Correct.
have been the reaction originally.
It would have. It's normal bound to happen.
Hey, I
Yeah.
have to leave. So bye, everybody.
Bye, Alka.
Chalo, bye. Happy New Year, everybody. See you all
Happy
next
New
Happy
time.
New
Year.
Year.
Okay, wait, Alka, before you
Uh,
go, I'm going to
uh,
request all of you that this year when you send out your New Year wishes, please make a card and click a picture of that and send it out to everybody. Do it. I want to see everyone's cards on the Art from Home group made by hand. Okay, are there? She's ahead. So click a
so
picture of.
anyone who wants a card, please send me your address and then I will make
Wow,
it
Oh,
and send it
yes.
to you. Yeah,
Oh
these are.
wow.
so pretty. So Alka, make this as a little video, like what are those things called?
Reels.
Boomerang things? Yeah, boomerang
Uh,
reel or
oh
something.
God, I'll have
Where
to
you
get my
open,
daughter to do it.
write
I also
Happy
hate
New
making
Year.
videos.
No, do it. Do so this is one opportunity for you to do something more than you know and learn something. So that every few months you'll have to make some cards. You can keep making it like that and sending out to people. Even for things like Datta Jayanti and Sankrant, you can start making cards.
Let us get done with New Year first. Then.
It has to become like a what is the next full moon? We are blessed with a festival every full moon. So
Yeah, really. Okay. So don't forget to send your addresses,
yes,
and then you will get your cards. I cannot guarantee
at some
when.
point.
Hopefully, yeah, they will come.
Cool.
Chalo, bye everyone.
Bye.
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 So we're also mostly done. Does anyone
Yeah.
have any questions or comments? Cool.
Yeah.
So I shall see you next week. Our class will not have any breaks. The other classes will have breaks because I'm doing the retreat.
Yeah.
Ritika will be there with me on the retreat. And but on Saturday we'll be back. We'll probably do class. That class, I think Ritika you'll miss.
No, I'll do it with you there.
You do it live with me here, and then good. This will be good fun.
Yeah.
Okay, chalo. Everyone have a lovely New Year's Eve, and I'll catch you next Saturday. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Bye. Happy New
Bye.
Year.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year all.